With the Walt Disney Company already in panic mode over their upcoming remake, Snow White 2025, based on the 1937 animated classic film, and on the Brothers Grimm tale, we all know that they are shifting away from the source material. This is the one piece of major criticism among Rachel Zegler, making the insufferable comments that she made before in the past, both with her political beliefs and her overall attitude toward the Snow White actual brand by Disney. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So one thing about all of this is that we know that Rachel Zegler is caught up in a tangle or a web of issues over at Disney between the executives, CEO Bob Iger, the board of directors there, and even director Mark Webb and writer Greta Gerwig. They're also dealing with a lot of backlash because of Snow White 2025, and rightfully so, by the way, because they are on this constant trope about how this is basically a movie now for the modern woman, for the overall real-world issues going on in society today, and nobody wants any of that. People just want an actual piece of entertainment that is free of DEI, free of an agenda, and that's that. Interestingly enough, though, we know that Rachel Zegler got in serious trouble just recently between herself and the Walt Disney Company, and how this is going to have a major impact on the marketing campaign and the press tour for Snow White 2025. Let's get into this, shall we? Now, one thing about Bob Iger is that we know that he is trying to desperately salvage his career as a CEO, trying to desperately save his overall legacy before he steps down in 2026, and that's his overall plan. However, with the Walt Disney Company already receiving endless backlash over Snow White 25, starring Rachel Zegler, one major development going on now involves more to do with how Zegler recently got in serious trouble amid how it's impacting both the marketing campaign and the press tour for Snow White. Now, one thing about all of this is that the Walt Disney Company just recently informed the Academy Awards to cancel an entire event that was going to be used as a slot of live television to promote Rachel Zegler as Snow White, where she was set to perform and sing as Snow White dressed up in costume on stage. Now, Zegler, however, recently got involved in a series of aggressive arguments with the marketing team for Snow White 2025 for not properly shutting down comments for those trailers that got so much backlash, and how much of a negative impact it's been having on her career. These multiple outbursts, so to speak, from Zegler to not just the marketing team, but also to the editors, resulted in Disney executives getting involved, as demanded by Bob Iger, the CEO, and the board, to actually silence Rachel Zegler and hide her further from the public eye, which resulted in the quick cancellation of her live performance for the Academy Awards. Now, Zegler is already fighting back at Disney to reinstate her Oscars performance that she reportedly rehearsed for over several months, and was going to involve CGI dwarves on a large LED screen behind her as part of the atmosphere. Now, Zegler was also planned to provide a speech at the Oscars that was not approved by the Walt Disney Company, and they instantly shot that down and flat out rejected it from getting approved. With her Snow White performance now cancelled in the Academy Awards, they are also cutting out other scenes after another failed test screening took place for the new Snow White movie, one of which involved a scene featuring Rachel Zegler talking down to the main male role in the film, serving as the new quote-unquote prince. This was described as the worst performing scene in the 7th test screening that took place for Snow White 2025, where screeners labeled it as the most cringeworthy scene of all. Zegler is already blaming the Disney Company for falling into the false narratives on social media, and is also blaming the Disney Company for not properly marketing the film and putting pressure on them as the reason as to why she is losing roles in her acting career. So again, before I move on, guys, is that she's already playing the victim card by saying it's all Disney's fault as to why she's not getting any more roles with different studios, or why she's losing roles, quite frankly, from other major studios that she actually had a plan with for many, many months. Now, she's also been blaming those critics out there that have been criticizing Snow White 2025. Now, we know one thing about this movie is that it is going to be a very big failure for them. if not a bigger failure than The Acolyte, which was a Star Wars show that aired during the summer of 2024. It took a major hit to Disney Plus subscribers abandoning ship and unsubscribing from that platform. We all know the metrics right now about how many subscribers bailed on Disney Plus, and it's not looking good at all. We'll go over those metrics shortly in a couple of days to really get into the nitty-gritty details of all of that. But Rachel Zegler, alright, focusing on this subject in isolation, the fact that she was going to have this massive Oscars performance at the Academy Awards, on stage, singing live as Snow White, I think would have been a very big cringe fest, so to speak, that would have actually shifted more people to not want to watch Snow White 2025. If anything, I think that Disney realized that this was going to be a disaster regardless. It was going to be something that would actually hit them harder, negatively speaking, and they, at least made one right call here by, really moving forward with canceling this overall event, especially after her arguments were taking place. Now, on top of this comes weeks after other studios tossed Rachel Zegler from other roles that she was supposed to star in. To make matters worse for Zegler's sake is that she also had a recent remote meeting with the Disney executives, which included CEO Bob Iger, and she was informed that her behavior is irresponsible and damaging to the Disney image and their many brands, and that they are moving forward with canceling several interviews with many popular trades and news organizations that will now no longer be interviewing Zegler, essentially getting similar treatment to what happened with Meghan Markle over at Netflix and Variety. This too is now happening to Zegler. So you guys may recall when Zegler made all those different political comments, she got a lot of backlash like a month or two ago. It might have been around 2 months ago where she made those political comments. She got so angry on social media, it completely made the whole situation worse than ever before when it comes to the boycott that's happening right now from many Disney families. And when I say Disney families, I'm talking about Disney fans that so happen to have families. They are boycotting this movie. They want nothing to do with this movie in particular while still supporting Disney. And that's very revealing. That is very telling about how universally rejected this movie really is. And she has the gall to say things that people are going to go in line to see me. The critics in line will actually go to see me at the end of the day. And she said that about 2 weeks ago, that all the critics, all of the quote-unquote haters, are going to be in line to actually watch this movie. That's how delusional Rachel Zegler truly is, and how out of touch with reality she truly is when it comes to basically how she's trying to promote this film at all costs, right? So again, I think that Bob Iger, it's going to take a big hit on him as well as CEO. This is going to look bad for him. It's most certainly going to do a lot of bad for Disney Plus, because this movie ultimately is going to result on Disney Plus. It's not going to last long in theaters, I can tell you that much. I can guarantee you that. It's going to last just a short number of weeks in theaters, and it's going to get kicked out almost immediately. And then you're going to have it on that platform, it's going to be on streaming, and it's going to lead to more unsubscribers. But overall, I would love to hear what everyone has to say about the whole Zegler situation and everything else going on between herself and the Disney executives. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.